I don't blame
Me personally, I could never because I don't have any women in it ever.
Jesus Christ.
So, moving onward and to bigger things, longer, possibly better. Summertime rendering.
Yes.
Season 1.
Have they confirmed a season 2?
I
don't see where they would
can't.
go. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Like
they,
unless they do anthology style, where it's just a whole different cast, whole different.
Yeah,
set
I'd be
somewhere.
okay with that.
And but just using the same concepts they've established so far, that's the only thing they could do.
Right. I was like, they can't do anything else.
Yeah, no, I'd be pissed.
Yeah, like leave these people alone. Like,
please, God.
This show is in Disney Plus prison right now because you can only watch it outside the U.S. And thankfully, we are Australian.
True. Yeah.
So we were able to watch it officially.
I'm very glad we went to Australia for this.
Yeah, me too. This show is a mystery, supernatural, thriller, engagement and romance. I don't know what the fuck to describe.
It's pretty much anything you need. Yeah, it's everything.
It's a lot. I thought it was going to be Groundhog's Day. It wasn't. I thought it was going to be a mystery show like Erased. It was not. It was its own thing. It did a pretty good job at that, man. It took a little bit of concepts from here, took a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, sprinkled them all together, mashed it up in a gumbo, and we got summertime rendering.
And I loved it.
This has probably one of the strongest first episodes of any anime I've watched.
Dude, absolutely, I agree. First episode was fire.
The way they switched it up with him getting killed, and they were like, boom, reset. And you're like, what? And then they kept doing the different mirror versions and everything like that. I was just in from the get-go.
Well, I mean, even just in that first episode when at the end he died or whatever, and then he wakes up, I'm like, oh, he was dreaming. That's totally fine. Like, I wonder how this is going to go. No.
I definitely didn't think he was dreaming.
I had no thought like that.
Well,
I thought time travel to begin with. Like Groundhog.
Yeah,
like, instantly I was like Groundhog's Day.
Yeah, me too.
So the only reason, like, because I was confused at first watching this, because they were doing, like, the staticky thing, and stuff was kind of cutting in and out, and I was like, what on earth does this mean?
Matrix.
Yeah, but, I wasn't sure. And then he woke up, and I was like, oh, so he was dreaming, and his brain was just cutting in and out in the middle of a dream. That makes sense. And then it made even more sense later when I knew I was wrong.
Yeah. The mystery I thought was going to be a little bit longer on the show. I thought they were going to play that up more to where he had to actively find out what was going on. Because they did the mystery elements super well.
I agree, man.
I agree.
They would sprinkle in hints of shit, and then you'd be like, oh, okay, you wouldn't think anything of it. And then they'd be like, something would happen, you'd be like, oh, so that connected to that, and that. Specifically, the first one I saw was when Miyu was outside the house talking to the cop. I was like, that was weird, whatever, what the fuck, I don't know what she's doing. Maybe she's like nostalgic that he's back or something. And then later on, when we find out about Shadow Miyu, and they're like, oh, that was Shadow Miyu outside the house.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or like the eye, like I noticed the eye from the get-go, and I was like, what's up with his eye? Does he just have heterochromia or what?
I had noticed that too, but like obviously it took a little bit of time for it to fully change over. That's part of why I was so confused.
Or Shinpei seeing Shinpei at like random points where like he was watching over himself, telling him like to do certain things. I was like, what is this?
Yeah. I don't know. It is nice that like later, like they kind of slap you in the face with like, oh, that's what happened in Time Switch 4 when this and this happened. Now we know this. I'm like, okay, like that makes sense. At least they kind of slap you in the face with why stuff is happening.
I was very okay with that because they were moving a little fast at that point they were just throwing everything at the same time, and I was trying to catch all of it. So I struggled with that a little bit, but it was helpful overall.
Once I started noticing that they were sprinkling hints everywhere, I was locked in, and I was really like picking out points that I think could like come up later. So I was cool with it for me. So I understood pretty much all the time loops and everything like that. Time loop 4 is the big one that ends on episode 4 or 5, maybe. You guys remember which one that is? 6.
Yeah,
6?
I think it was end of 5.
You say Time Loop 4 ends?
Yeah, that's the one that was like the bad one. That was the one where they got all the way to the festival.
Yes.
Where they saw Hyena and all everything.
Wasn't that 3?
No.
No.
No, it was 4.
That wasn't Time Loop 3?
Not at all.
Okay, then yeah, it was episode. It ended in episode 5.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, because he got headshot. I wrote that in my notes. Oh my god, Nagumo headshot the shit out of Shinpei.
That shit was
His
nuts.
whole head blowed up.
For purposes of character purpose, I'm gonna call her Nagumo for the most part because that encapsulates both her. He's
Hizuru. Yeah, Hizuru and Ryunosuke. Yeah.
So Nagumo is their last name, so that just both of them bam right there.
Yeah.
But if I need to talk about Ryunosuke specifically, I'll say just Ryunosuke.
Yeah.
That was cool. She's amazing. Hizuru and Ryunosuke were fucking amazing. From the first time I saw them with the shotgun, killing shadows, doing shit, I was like, who is this and why are you so cool?
Yeah,
that whole concept that they brought with them was phenomenal too.
Probably my favorite protagonist, to be honest.
Absolutely. Easily the strongest of the entire cast.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Probably got the best singular moment, like character-wise, development, when she died. Spoiler. Because you just got the moment with the full circle moment with Hayane and her and their whole arc, which was excellent.
That was super cool. Yeah.
Which you didn't really get that full circle for anyone else because they weren't as attached to that plot line like everyone else was. Like that was specifically Hayane's and Hizuru's and Ryunosuke's plot. Like that was them three.
Yeah.
And then
yeah, that's crazy.
You had the other cast, which was basically a whole different issue that they're working towards and working through.
Precisely.
With like fake Ushio showing up, that fake Ushio shit threw me off so bad.
Same, dude.
You're talking about when she first showed up at the festival.
Yes,
dog.
That's fake Ushio.
I was baffled.
Shadow Ushio. Yeah, I didn't know what to think, dude. I was like, what the fuck? And then she didn't even know she was a shadow, and I was like, what is going on?
And then she was a good guy, and she was down to ride for everyone. And I was like, okay, this is... Because she was on the box art for the anime, so I was like, okay, the cover art or whatever. You know, like when you're scrolling through Disney Plus and they show the characters, you see Ushio on there. And I was like, oh, there's Ushio. But she wasn't doing anything. She was dead. I'm like, how is she going to be in the show if she's fucking dead? And then here she is. She's in the show. I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
They did it
and
very well.
And her coming back... The first Mio interaction with her being like, you're a fucking demon. I was like, wow.
Yeah, dude, she went at her monster. She's like, you're a monster.
Oh my gosh.
Holy shit.
That had me a little bit emotional.
That was fucked up, man. Because
true.
At that point she knew about the shadows, so it made sense to why she would say that. But damn, man, what the fuck?
With Ushio not even realizing she was a shadow? Like...
Yeah, because at that point she had told... And then... Okay, bro, again with the fucking switch-ups. The Shadow Shinpei that was there, that fucking switcherooed on you. I was like, that's Shadow Shinpei? I'm like, where's Shinpei at then? And then they showed what happened to him. I'm like, holy shit, this show's mystery elements are so good. Like,
right?
This is one of the best games of chess I've seen since Death Note.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what?
Not just mystery-wise... But the latter half, it switched from just mystery to two forces actively battling against each other mentally. Like, they were like, who can outsmart each other now? That was the whole thing.
I made multiple notes in the latter half of this show just talking about, like, the mind games. Who's going to win these mind games?
Damn, man. I do love me some mind games. So that whole... The time loop thing was interesting. And once they started breaking down how the time worked for everyone... I kind of started to like it more because I felt like the time was sort of getting cop out-ish at a certain point, especially when he shot him when he got shot in the face by Ryunosuke. I was like, all right, well, what's stopping him from just doing that consistently?
Right.
And then they bring in the Event Horizon concept,
right?
Which every time he dies, the time he goes back shortens until when he'll die and it'll just match up. So that means he's dead forever.
That shit was cool as shit too.
So
I really like. Especially the visual of him like walking against the wall crumbling. Like I thought that was really cool, and it made me at least kind of understand that a little bit better.
Yeah, so when he first started doing that, I thought when he came back was based on how far he went.
So did I.
And
me
so,
too. Yeah.
I was like, oh, that makes sense. And then, if he dies earlier again, then he'll just go back earlier again.
Right.
And then, they explained everything, and that was not true. And I was like, that he's honestly a little bit cooler. I like that idea more. It made this show even more interesting to just have that creeping time of certainty, I guess.
It was a great way to combat time travel because time travel inherently is a tough thing to have because it's such a heavy advantage, right? It's why it's funny we just watched Tokyo Revengers, so it's a good point to work with as well as Raced.
Right.
Tokyo Revengers, I was getting mad because this motherfucker would keep going back and doing shit, and he would fuck it up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Shinpei wasn't fucking up. Every time he came back, he was actively planning and changing and doing shit better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like
and that
actively.
he would learn something every single time too. Like we would, and as viewers, we would learn something as well. Like every single time was strategy based, at least.
Until he couldn't use that advantage fully anymore.
Yeah, because Hayane was...
Once Hayane branded him and also was taking out the information that he was getting, that when I was like, this is fucking perfect. This is beautiful. Because now, fuck the time travel. Like, every time you use it, I get it too, bitch. So now
so
what?
Cool.
And it was so impressive to me that they were able to work time travel and not only not have it be OP, have him every time he does it, it's worthy and like you feel the intensity when he has to do that, and then you counter it. You countered it excellently, and it makes sense.
Yeah, it
like,
fit perfectly into the villainy.
Especially with the flashback, with the fucking eye, when you realize that when Hayane ate Ryunosuke, she lost an eye, and that's the eye he ends up getting, kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh,
I was just like, oh, this makes sense.
Okay.
This rules.
I do have one question about the eye, right? So they kept saying stuff about once he loops, blah blah blah. It's about like the world is through the eye of whatever he's seeing or whatever. So it's through that
Articulate
eye.
yourself.
I can't. I didn't even write down specifically what they said. They said it a bunch of times.
Then just skip it. Paraphrase.
Yeah. But I didn't understand what they meant by that because it's through what it was. They were saying basically it's through what Shinpei sees. Becomes the real world. So I was slightly confused because technically it's what everybody sees, but we're skipping back through Shinpei specifically, and he's the one who can change stuff. So I never fully understood what they were trying to say with that.
It's through Shinpei every time, but the reason people started remembering shit was because not only was he bringing back Ushio, she would take the memories and she would implant the memories to everyone.
Right, exactly.
So it's always through Shinpei's eyes. Like, that's the thing that happens.
Right, but then they were saying, like, what he saw becomes what he sees becomes the real world. And it's like, that's the part that confused me because everyone saw that stuff. Right?
I mean, yeah, but they saw it multiple times. Well, I mean, okay, they saw it once technically, but he went back and changed reality, so whatever reality ends up winning at the end, and he creates, it ends up as the reality. So whether he or the villainous side ended up winning, that was going to be the future. That was going to be the side that ended up the actual past. Like, these side characters are just that. They're just side characters in his story at the moment until that becomes his like story, I guess, or like the story continues to where there's no me against you type of thing.
Right.
So they are just kind of, excuse my phrasing, but they are kind of just NPCs at this point. Like, they're just kind of there until it becomes a point where you can get on with your life and you don't have to loop anymore.
Yeah.
Exactly. Which I kind of thought that they were going to get to. That's kind of how I thought they were going to take the overall story.
Sure.
I mean, they kind of did.
Sort of.
We get one of the heal. This is gonna be like 5, maybe 6, I guess, where we get the Tokiko reveal that she's in on it.
So depressing too.
That was crazy reveal,
up.
Bro.
I was so pissed.
That one had me hot.
It's like, bro, you've been in on this. You've been talking to Mio like she's your homie. You've been, hanging out with us. Your brother don't even fucking know what you're doing, and you and your dad are the only one who knows. And you're doing this because you want to keep your mom alive.
Actually, that was
like, damn.
That was the end of the 4th loop, I think.
No,
sorry.
I think it was the 5th.
It was the next one.
Yeah.
It wasn't the 4th one. But yeah, they were like, what the fuck, dude? what the hell, and they were all beefing, and they were gonna fight, and they were crying and shitting their pants and stuff. And poor Tokiko was just being an asshole. And then they find out, and they explain to her that the shadows weren't gonna honor the deal anyways. So she did all that killing and shit for nothing. What the fuck?
Yep. It's just
I also
so
wasn't
bad.
happy with her shadow names. Do not bring up Rosencrantz and Guildenstern to me ever fucking again. Outside of high school English, I never want to hear those motherfuckers' names again. That book I had to read was fucking stupid, and that shit was literally just a fan fiction that they made us read for literature. Alright? It was not written by Shakespeare. It was some other dude wrote a fanfic. What the fuck? Thank you.
Fair. What pissed me off more, honestly, is when they revealed to their dad later, like, oh, the shadows aren't even going to honor it. And he's like, well, we can still do this. And he was still actively like, well, I mean, he tried to kill his son for one.
Yes.
And for two, he was still trying to actively be a bad guy. And I'm like, dude, you're a fucking piece of shit.
And then they tried to fucking kill, he tried to kill Tokiko too.
Yeah.
Later on. And the one reason she didn't die because it was fucking Mio, Shadow Mio.
Yep. Yeah,
It
he
was
literally
like,
shot her. I'm like, dude. As soon as he did too, I was like, what the fuck? And then I was like, oh yeah, that's right. She's not even there.
Yes, sir.
The father is the most bitch character in this show. That's a fact.
Yeah, honestly, probably. You know. Well, there's one probably that's a bigger bitch, but that's because
Yeah.
he's evil as shit.
Kisaki,
Who?
the priest.
Oh, I call him Shide. I just call him by his
I mean, yeah,
villain name.
Shide too. Shide, I don't know. I consider them different characters almost because I feel like Shide was doing some cool shit, whereas Kisaki was just kind of a bitch.
Karakiri.
What?
Yeah.
His name's Karakiri.
Okay.
Blonde guy who is Shide.
Yeah. Was
But
it
that
not?
might be his other name, though.
Yeah, I was gonna say he had like 4 names. I don't remember, but
Because he has two
There was,
he has the
so there was Karakiri.
he has Shide,
There was
and then his
Iowao.
first and second name.
There was Iowao, but he wasn't like Kisaki Karakiri.
Are you sure?
Yes.
I know it was Karakiri at one point. I don't know, dude. I can't keep track. But
That's
yeah,
why I just
anyway.
went with Shide, because Shide
Yeah,
evil
that's
as hell.
fair. That's fair.
See, but he did everything. Like he just was evil, and that was his whole thing. He wouldn't.
Yeah, that's
like,
why you a bitch.
Well, no, but that's slightly different, because like that was good for the show and like the plot and everything. Where his dad, he was just a moron for all that. Like he was super bitch.
Fair. Really, what do you consider evil bitch or just, you know, asshole bitch?
See, like
I
evil,
think
I'm
evil.
okay with for the purpose of the show, because he's the villain. That's his purpose. Dad was not the villain. He was helping the villain when he shouldn't have been.
True.
So that's why I dislike him more.
The end of like this show is basically divided into 2 sections. You got first section, second section.
Yeah.
First section for me ends around episode 12, 13, and then you could see them actively like change shit up
So
because he comes back, he starts skipping cutscenes and shit. Like this dude, it's like when you're playing a video game, right? And you're like playing it, and you're like, man, fuck this cutscene. I've seen this shit 5 times. You start skipping cutscenes.
Yep.
That's what we were actively doing as viewers, because he was just like, all right, guys, you know everything now. Come on, let's fucking go. Hurry up. I'm not explaining
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
So that was episode 12 ended the first section, and here's how I know that it was the 4th loop where we got Tokiko reveal. Is because the start of episode 13 said 5th loop, and I made that note.
So
it was
three
the
Three was
festival.
the
I was right. It was
festival, yeah.
3
Four,
was the festival.
4 was the cave.
Yes,
Okay.
4 was the
Gotcha.
cave.
I also have episode 13 as the switchover because we got the new OP. Even
Yeah.
though I like the first OP better.
The first
too.
OP
And-
and the first ending, far superior.
agree.
yeah.
Absolutely.
definitely
Second OP, I liked, but it was more initial D style. It's much more upbeat.
I
Yeah.
didn't like it
Yeah.
a ton, but I didn't actively dislike it.
Yes, and when they explained that now Big Shadow Shide is in on the time skip and shit, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Because right away in the 5th time, they're like, we on your ass. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, because he was already in the kitchen with the little girl and her family, man.
Yeah,
like he was
dude.
already down for the smoke. I'm like, the fuck?
Fifth
Yeah,
loop
Reno's
was
got
the
their ass
shortest by
kicked.
far, bro.
Literally got their ass kicked. Renosuke was like, hurry the fuck up, kill yourself, we gotta
Yep.
go.
Yep.
It's a wrap.
Try again.
And then that's when they revealed the branding is, you know, giving away his position and everything like that. It's like, all right, now you can't just rely on that fucking time skip no more, bitch. Now you gotta
Bro.
start using that brain.
That shit was creepy as shit too. In the memory where she's like, "Found ya." I'm like,
Dude,
bro, no.
that was so
my
sweet.
Gosh, when they're in the
That was
water.
so sweet.
Oh my
I was getting chills, bro. I was like, the fuck is going on?
That was so fucking sweet because you see them go, that wasn't in the memory. What was that? And they're all trying to figure out what it was.
Dude.
And they're like, holy shit.
One of the things I love about the mystery of this show is they didn't just do something and then reveal. Like, they let things sit for an episode or two at least before they started to reveal it, and you had to try and figure it out on your own while they're trying to figure it out. And that made it so much better.
The voicemail from episode 1 wasn't discussed until episode 25.
I know, dude.
Like, they're planting seeds for shit that doesn't, like, the Shinpei watching over himself shit was also late 20, I feel like 1920-ish where they started talking about that.
Yeah.
Like, they did a fantastic job of, like, here it is. We're not going to tell you what that is. Just keep that in your brain.
But it's going to pop up a few more times as well.
Oh, absolutely. This show, a criticism and a praise of this show is that everything is done and they will tell you why and when and why it's important.
Very Dark-esque.
For some people, that'll be upsetting because they'll be like, I don't need to know everything that happened. But for me, as someone who likes to try to figure it out as I'm going, them showing, like, this, and this happened because this, and this, and that's why we did that, and that.
Exactly.
I was like, perfect. I love that shit.
Yep, me
It was
too.
amazing. They handled it so well with it, when to explain, which parts they would explain, and how it connected to the other parts. They nailed it.
Yeah, man. It was great. I also love the flashback with Hizuru and Hayane.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
that whole
That was
bit
amazing.
of explaining that she knew and that she's connected to her and that that's who killed Ryunosuke and everything like that. Elite. Because then it works back in to episode 18-19.
Dude,
Shit starts going down.
Because 18, we don't find out until 18 that Karakiri's the forearm, you know.
It's Shide, bro.
The Shide.
That,
Yeah.
That one
And
was nuts.
I would not have guessed that.
I wouldn't
Ever.
have either.
It
But
makes sense to me.
It makes sense.
Because then I started thinking, because he's talking about Final Fantasy VII, he's talking about video games and shit. And then you realize that the powers are happening are digital. And, like, that's why there's always, like, that staticky and shit and streaky shit, and it's all that's happening. I'm like, oh, so that makes sense why that would be like that, because he's picturing it as a game, because he likes games, too. So that's why he's understanding the rendering shit like that. I'm like, holy shit. Elite.
Yeah, it was cool as shit.
Everything connects.
Shide
It
was
so good.
by far the best villain in the show, or most shows.
He might be top 2, not 2 for best villain this year.
I'm so glad you guys felt the same way, because every time that motherfucker was on screen and with Hayane, I was like, I don't take her serious because he's here.
Exactly.
Like, I know that she has the power, but that motherfucker is way more scary.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what he has planned yet, but he's up to something. And then when they made that switch from Hayane being the bad to him being the big bad, I was like, yes, thank you. That's all I wanted from you. Like, make him the final evil we gotta beat.
Dude,
And
Absolutely.
so sweet.
It was execution on point throughout this entire show.
I didn't understand, though, if you guys maybe help me fill in some blanks here, the 2 Shides, what was up with that? You guys know it all?
Yes. So
Spark notes.
Are you talking about, like, how he had?
There was 2 Shides in the room. Ushio killed one, he didn't kill the real one.
Yes. So one of them was the body of
The 40-year-old dude.
yeah.
Okay,
So
that
from
makes
40 years
sense.
ago, it was the body. They did explain
So he was
that at one point.
That's what I thought. He was transmogging
yeah.
the other guy to look like him. And yeah, got you.
Yeah,
'Cause
because
the mud
remember they
can
like
adapt.
mentioned that he had been reborn
Yes,
multiple
I
times.
remember.
And so it was just the most recent dead body. He basically said that he kept it around.
Just in case. In caso de que. Episode 20 is when I got a little bit, I started being disrespectful to Tokyo Revengers watching this. Because I was like, at least when Shinpei, something goes wrong for him, it's because Shide and Hayane are actively fucking up with his shit. Like, they're fucking with what he's doing.
Yeah.
Because that was when Nagamo goes down in 1920, right?
Yep.
Because it's like the trade-off is, okay, we save fucking Tokiko and everyone. Nagamo's dead now. That was the trade.
Right.
And that's because they were like, yeah, we knew because that move that you pulled, And then all that, I was like, this happened here. We got to redo the fight. We got a chance to redo the fight this time. And I was like, shit.
Yeah, that shit was so cool to me, too. It was just like, yeah. Like, and it comes up later, too. And, I mean, we'll get to it. But when she just like, oh, you wouldn't know, but, I've already been through this.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, just so elite in the way that it handles the battle and the time travel and the perspective. The way they play with perspective is great because you only get things from Shinpei's perspective. You get a little bit from Ushio. Like the whole phone thing earlier that we mentioned a little bit of was elite with the Ushio recording and letting him know that like, hey, I think this is going to happen. Just letting you know now, you should be in my shadow if you're watching this. So this and this, you'll understand this and then you'll understand this too. That was dope because we only see things from Shinpei's POV most of the time. The only time we get to see from other people's POV is in that video and the flashback for Nagamo.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then they play with that with the situation with the whole beach battle that he wasn't there for and everything like that. It was like, bro, I fucks with this heavy.
Dude, I feel like from, I don't know, it must have been 17, 18 on to the end I was just locked in. Like, I mean, I was invested in this whole show, but dude, at that moment, like up until the end, like it was just insane to me. I think it mostly started when they were trying to find Ushio's body again after she died. Like when that whole ocean chase.
Yeah, that was sweet.
That probably was. It's weird, but that probably was my favorite scene in the show. That ocean chase.
Really,
it was intense.
The music behind the music they used for the intense scenes was so cool to me. Like,
they nailed it.
I don't know. It was just the whole like Shide chasing, like while he's in the baby. Like trying to find Ushio.
Not the baby.
Like,
Yeah, he was in a guild.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought that shit was so cool.
It was great because the intensity was high because you knew at this point that he was getting close to Event Horizon.
Yeah.
If not there already.
Correct.
That he could not go back any much more, if at all, and that was going to be bad news if he went down there without getting Ushio, and then he gets her after the intensity fight, and then you find out motherfuckers got Ryunosuke in him now because of Nagamo dying.
Dude, I was going to get to that in just a second, so finish your thought, please.
So he's got the 2-second cheese, so he's able to go toe-to-toe with Shide to a certain extent. It's like, bro, this is sweet.
Dude, when Nagamo passed Ryunosuke onto Shinpei, that was crazy. The fact that she was able to do, or the fact that Ryunosuke was able to do that in the first place was really cool. But then when she passed him on to Shinpei, and it was like, hey, protect my brother, blah, 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 and just her whole death scene. Her death scene got to me a little bit. That was pretty emotional.
I thought she was done.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, 100%. I did too. Especially because she goes, it's not about how long you lived, it's about how well you lived. And I was like, she's spitting right now. That's a bar.
Can't believe they try to kill my wife like that.
Hey, Ryunosuke, bro. Hey, very little screen time compared to a lot of people. Well, kind of, because he's Nagamo a lot, but top 3 character in my opinion.
Beast, bro, beast. Like I said, the people who were involved in the Hyena, Hizuru
absolutely.
and fucking Ryunosuke plotline, that was incredible because that was the basis for the entire show.
Exactly.
Yep.
And it was sweet. And Ryunosuke, I mean, he did some pimp shit. He was going out like a G. He was only G moves only. That's it.
Speaking of pimp shit, bro, in episode 20, where this is where Mio confesses her love to Shinpei.
That's 21.
I have 20. Oh, no, it is 21. It is 21.
I have the same note as you, my man.
I said, this dude's a fucking shark, bro. She said, I love you. And he said,
oh, thanks.
Thanks.
Bro, I said Giga Chaz Shinpei.
That was insane, dude.
Bro, they had
love you.
They had the love quadrilateral going on, bro. That was crazy.
There was no love. It was a line. It was just between Shinpei and fucking Ushio, and Mio kept trying to interject herself in there. It wasn't happening.
Well, but then So was like, I love you, Mio.
Oh, dude,
she
So
was like,
never.
Bro, he been saying that.
No.
That's not the deal.
Homie was never getting a crumb, bro.
And
Neither was Mio.
She was hating, bro. She should have
Mio
just took
could've.
So.
Yep.
Just hating.
So
on
was
bullshit.
fine, dude. She got
So
to
it's
settle.
like, I love you. Like, he wasn't pussyfooting. He wasn't a bitch, but he was like, look, I like you, please. And then, he was a real good guy, bro. He's
But
good dude.
look,
No, so was cool.
what do you like about me?
Bro, don't do that. Don't do that. 'Cause I got so mad at that scene. I got so mad, bro. That hit a little too close to home, bro. That, oh my god, I've heard that shit before. That's a setup, bro. That's such a setup line.
So funny.
Because she didn't care either. It wouldn't have mattered what he said. She didn't care. But
not when that was actually said.
when Shinpei turned her down and she went back into the room and she was like crying with Tokiko and then Shadow Mio was there, and Shadow Mio was basically saying like, hey, if this and this happens, maybe we can weasel our way in there and be with
She
Shinpei.
said Ushio's dead either way, so he's gonna have to move on.
that was
her whole game plan.
crazy, dude. I was
Get
like, I
on
mean,
now.
she's right, but that's nuts what she's talking about right there. She's like, hey, my sister's dead. How about me?
Episode 22, we get the cave, right? They're going back into the cave to try to find the body.
Even more mind games.
Nezu, who we haven't talked about yet, who's fantastic as well.
Old
Sniper, old man, yeah. Has probably the best line in the show. And I wrote it down because like it actually like made me think, and I was like, holy shit, like I could have used this 10 years ago. But he goes, if you aren't sure what to do, ask yourself what your future self would do. And that's the answer. That way you won't have any regrets.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn. It's like, that's facts, though. Like, you know, we as people, you know, how many times are we like, damn, I wish I would have done that yesterday because now I don't have to do it today. Just over simple things. So I'm like, that's that. I don't know. I thought that was super cool.
Shinpei was talking about that shit too earlier on. Like when he had the whole meeting with them at the gymnasium, he was like, I'm just not gonna have regrets. Like I fucked up last time before I left by not doing shit I should have done. So I'm not gonna fuck around this time. I'll keep doing shit and figure out what works and what doesn't. I need your guys' help. I'm not gonna ask you guys not to help me. I'm gonna ask you the opposite. I'm gonna ask you to please help me.
Yeah.
You know. And then
That's when
Nezu drops that old head knowledge that only old heads know how to drop.
I wish old heads were as cool in real life as they are in anime.
Where is Iroh and Nezu IRL? We need those
that's
dudes
facts.
just away.
100%. All of the ways.
Instead, we got some other people.
yeah, we don't talk about those people.
Yes. So we find out that Ushio is the key. She has the keys, because we get the eye that keeps showing up in the cover art for this show, the orange eye, and then Shinpei gets the orange eye.
That part confused me.
It's like the awakening version of it, basically. Like they've been waiting for this to happen for a minute.
Right.
And then Shida is like, well, I don't need this bitch anymore. And he grabs Hyena and fucking ends her at the baby form and then throws her into the demon world. And then he's like,
nuts.
see you later, pussies. And like, jumps into the demon world, baits them into there. And they fall for the bait because they have to go kill his ass either way.
I know.
And then he's like, this is my plan all along. Now you lost your fucking Ryonosuke boost. You lost your fucking Ryonosuke perk, bitch. The 2-second perk. And they just start brawling in the afterworld. Sweet. We meet Nice Hyena. I forget her name. Hiruku?
It's no. Because it was Heine was the actual
Heine's
girl.
Hiruku was the evil
one. Yeah. So Heine's the real girl. The nice one.
Yes. And so we end up dealing with that, and we get the battle to start, which lasts for like 3 episodes.
Yeah.
Of them just battling in the afterworld. And it was pretty intense and sweet. I'm not gonna lie. I did not picture this show turning into a fucking battle shonen at the end.
Nor did I, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Again,
I was like mystery, supernatural, thriller. I did not picture. We hand-to-hand boxing.
Yeah, dude. The animation was amazing on those action fights too.
It was
dude
so
with
good.
the air raid business, and then like Ushio
World
flying
War
up
II.
through that, bro. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was sweet.
Solid World War II symbolism with the Japanese.
Very
and all that
true.
shit.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like her being like, I remember this. Like this is a memory of mine. I'm like, damn, that's true.
Yeah, because she was around for all that. Because she's old.
Exactly.
That old.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And that was sweet. Then they did the Piccolo Goku gimmick from Dragon Ball Z, where fucking Ushio's like, I'm gonna need 3 minutes. Figure it out. And he's like, fuck. Throws back to fucking Piccolo, tell Goku, I need 5 minutes. That dude, that dude is whooping our ass back and forth. Both of us, I need you to handle him by yourself for 5 minutes. What?
What?
And he does it for the most part.
He got whooped on.
Oh, absolutely. But, one hand, down a broken hand,
a broken leg,
fucked up leg, can't breathe because he's actively disappearing in this fucked up universe. He said, buzzer beater, grabs the gat, it says, get the gat, and just gets that W with the shot, bro. He did the Fortnite jump off the building, spin, fucking no scope
with the shotgun. He double pumped him, bro.
It was crazy, epic, and it was sweet when they did the. I hate to keep going back to Dragon Ball, but they did the father son Kamehameha.
Bro, not the father son Kamehameha.
They did the Shinpei Uchiha when she grabs his hand with the gun, and they're like, "Let's do this, Shinpei," and they fucking shoot it together. I was like. That trope will never not be cool as shit. Like,
no, it won't. If
you build it up properly, it will always be cool.
They didn't give it away or anything. They didn't overdo it. It was just where it needed to be.
And they got the dub, and then they're about to go back in time, and I was like, "This is it." They're gonna, Uchiha saying goodbye to him.
I got so sad.
She's gonna be gone. Nagumo's gonna be gone. And the episode kind of wraps, and it was over. And then I was like, "All right, that's probably where it's gonna end right there." And then there was one more episode. I was like, "So what's happening?" And I clicked pretty much. And it's basically an epilogue. Episode 25 is like an epilogue. Yeah. And they're like, well, if Hyena never becomes evil, basically, none of this shit happens. No one dies. You know what I mean? Literally no one. Ryunosuke's good. Uchiha's good. Everything's good. So then they just play it through, and it's good universe, basically.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was one of those... Honestly, I would have been cool with episode 24 being the ending. Realistically, like, they did everything, paid it off, and there was like, that's solid. But what sold me for episode 25 was the beach scene.
Yeah, me too. And,
absolutely.
We talked a little bit during the week, and we're like, we're not really super sold on Uchiha Shinpei.
Yeah.
Nah, bro, that shit at the end, I was like, yeah.
Dude, and I was almost disappointed by it, if I'm going to be honest, because I worked myself up too much, like, getting into it, that, like, I got disappointed when they didn't do something I thought they would do. So when she found the pendant, right, and they, like, kind of embraced, and they're like, oh, my God, this is great. Sunset, I'm like, dude, all they have to do is kiss under the sunset, boom. Flash of all their memories from the dream, right?
Exactly.
What they thought was the dream. I was like, dude, they're just gonna go through like a 5-minute flash of everything that just happened this season, and they're both gonna remember. And I was like, dude, that would be so cool. Like, I think
it implies that did happen.
No, it doesn't. It wasn't until later that it happened. But after that, I was like, alternate, better ending. This is what is gonna happen, and then it kind of happened later. Mm-hmm. But dude, I was almost disappointed.
That would have
been
perfect. And here's my take. I often get annoyed when they do the little epilogue piece, whether it's at the end of a longer episode of a finale or even just an extra episode that's kind of an epilogue. A lot of them to me are not that good, and I'm not invested in that part of it. But in this one, I was very invested. I wanted to see, especially when I realized that things had like legitimately changed. I wanted to see how it played out, and overall, I was very happy with how it played out. The beach scene was magnificent.
Dude, that final frame with them laying their heads on top of each other, fucking leap. That's one of the best closing frames ever.
With the fireworks in the background? Yep. Oh my gosh.
See, and that's what if that's what you're talking about, then yeah, they do imply that,
Yeah, I forgot that there was two beaches. That happened in the second beach.
The first beach scene is what made it for me. That was the best scene in this episode for me.
I agree with you, Eli, but I also still the ending, because then they're both like, when we had to slip through, the crack back at the clinic, and they were like,
and then she goes, welcome back.
Wait a second, dude. When she said welcome back,
I was like, okay, there it is. Again, man, I was just waiting for it, because I'm like, dude, if they don't remember at this point, I'm gonna be so upset.
So I would have been too, because I was like, so much characterization happened in that time.
Yeah.
And oh man, just that laying the head on top of each other, his final frame was so elite. We also got some other stuff that was amazing, like Ryunosuke with his family, naming his daughter Hyene.
Oh, that was
Hizuru being an author, and she wrote the book Summertime Rendering.
Mm-hmm. Shinpei got his parents back.
Yeah. Was that? I guess so, yeah, because they died
Yeah,
because
yeah.
he killed them, so he did, yeah.
Yep. And then we got old man Karakiri with his son who's going to replace him.
Yep, and he's actually, dying,
Yeah.
not fucking immortal.
Yeah.
Too bad he won't get the second part of Final Fantasy Remake, my man.
That's tough.
But, dude, it was... God, that was a good epilogue. Really, I agree with you. Rarely do I think epilogues are necessary, especially with the way 24 wrapped up. I was like, that's good. Like, you could just leave him, like, hurt, upset about what happened, moving on, accepting what he did, and just coming to terms with his past. And, like, I fucked up. I wish I didn't, but I did with the Curry thing and the way he ended up leaving because they started fighting.
Yeah, that would have been... It would have been an acceptable ending at 24.
I thought it would have been a really good ending, but this ending was elite. Excellent. Fucking god tier. Like I said, that episode 25 is probably one of the best final episodes I've ever seen.
Yeah. No, I
agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It leaves me even more satisfied than I expected to be.
This show, when this show hits in the US, I will be fucking pissed if it does not become really popular.
I mean, it's gonna be, man. Like, there's no way.
This
People
is
are idiots, Eli.
this is some
That's
of the
true.
best shit I've seen all year.
Oh yeah,
100%.
absolutely.
And I'm giving this a 9.5. That's how
Whoa.
good it is.
A 9.5.
Damn, nice.
Yeah.
Again, man, this isn't a slight to it at all, and this is completely different from me giving a 10 to Dr. Stone earlier, because these are two completely different shows.
Right.
But this also gets a 9.5 from me. My only downfall of this show is the supporting characters.
Really?
I don't feel super invested in a lot of the characters.
Okay, I see what you mean. I understand what you're talking about now, because like with, especially if you relate it back to Dr. Stone, Dr. Stone gave you a reason to invest in more of the supporting characters.
Pretty much everyone.
Again, man, like, I'm not saying this is better or worse. Like, that's a conclusion I'm going to have to make over the next few months is when we do the wrap-up show. I haven't decided yet, so I don't know. But my checklist for a 10 out of 10 follows as a capable main character that I enjoy, check, right? A capable villain that I like, check. Strong supporting characters. I feel like you have Ryunosuke. I feel like you have Miss Nagumo. And then you have Nezu, who's good. I feel like Ushio is a main character, and she's not really a supporting character at this point, but she's okay. Mio was eh. The brother
I give
and
Tokiko
sister,
a thumbs up.
yeah, the brother and Tokiko was good. I will agree, especially when she has the power later. I think she was really good.
For me, the worst of the supporting characters was So.
Yeah, I would agree.
Because he was like, how are you going to have the best friend not do almost anything?
His
feel
whole
like
role was to get Mio out the pain, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's So and Mio are the least,
Developed.
I like Shadow Mio more than regular Mio, So
At least Mio
it's true.
provided like interesting plot points at different parts, and So was just thrown in with that.
yeah. So I mean, I enjoyed this shit a lot, and I'm not like shitting on it by not giving it a 10, but I think that's my only reasoning for not doing so.
Bro, a half point off, I don't think anyone's going to sweat the
No,
10.
I know. I'm sweating the 10. Oh, that's what I'm saying.
Tristan?
Oh, see, I was going back and forth because before this I wasn't gonna give it a 10. And then we were talking about it. I was like, this show is a 10 out of 10. But Eli's comments have resonated with me because I completely agree that overall the supporting cast is not as strong as I would like it to be. So I think
A couple bad eggs ruined the bunch.
yeah, so I think for that reason I am also going to give it a 9.5. But I mean, it is a small difference between a 9.5 and the full 10 for me on this one.
Fully with you. Yeah.
Like it's
I
that close.
also want people to realize while the rating is, some people care about the rating. Fuck the rating. This gets our golden stamp of you need to fucking watch this.
Oh,
100%. Yeah.
If you've seen this and you hear us talking about this, I don't think there's a single person I know that wouldn't like this show.
No, I agree. Yeah.
Like it's quality writing, quality characters. If it was live action, people would be jerking their meat to the show, right?
Yeah.
Because so anime throws some people off, but I think even those people will accept that this show's excellent. So if you have friends, family, cousins, brothers, sisters, anything like that, please watch this. Like, it's so good. When it hits the U.S. streets, you gotta watch it.